Quote, genders, then, can be neither true nor false, neither real nor apparent. And yet, one is compelled to live in a world in which genders constitute unequivocal signifiers, in which gender is stabilized, polarized, rendered discrete, and intractable. In effect, gender is made to comply with a model of truth and falsity which not only contradicts its own performative fluidity, but serves a social policy of gender regulation and control. Performing one's gender wrong initiates a set of punishments both obvious and indirect, and performing it well provides the reassurance that there is an essentialism of gender identity after all. That this reassurance is so easily displaced by anxiety, that culture so readily punishes or marginalizes those who fail to perform the illusion of gender essentialism, should be sign enough that on some level there is social knowledge that the truth or falsity of gender is only socially compelled and in no sense ontologically necessitated. End quote. Okay, so some concrete examples of this. As an example, before I found the terminology to identify as non-binary, in high school I shaved my legs, which, as somebody who was male presenting, was not socially acceptable, and needless to say, led to a lot of interesting commentary by my peers. As another example, think of what might happen if a very masculine-looking individual were to start wearing a dress. Cut that. The ways in which people respond to seeing that expression of gender identity can reaffirm that there are correct and incorrect ways to fit within a particular identity. And that internal dialogue of a person who internally does not fit with the identity that society has prescribed them can cause a lot of harm mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, etc. to an individual. So for example, if you have a student who identifies outside of the sex that was assigned to them at birth, depending on the community that they're in and their peers, or you as a teacher, or other administrators, or other family members and community members, depending on how you structure that social environment, can have a huge positive or negative impact on that student. This doesn't just apply to gender identity, but any type of identity. So it's something that we as educators really need to consider. And I've got some questions at the end that I'm still thinking through, and I think the field should also think through. This excerpt of the CSK8 podcast is from episode number 72, which is titled Performative Acts and Gender Constitution, an essay in phenomenology and feminist theory.